Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. Today I'm in for a treat because I'm tasting an old school tea, an old school Hei-cha. Hei-cha just means fermented tea. It's a broad category of tea, of which the most famous is ripe pu'er. But historically, ripe pu'er is actually the youngest, developed in the 70s. Hei-cha actually has existed in other parts of China for much, much longer, and this is one of those teas, old school. This is a Yaan Zang cha. Yaan is an area in Sichuan. Sichuan is an area famed and historic in tea production, one of the mother provinces of tea. Yunnan and Sichuan like to argue about who started tea first. We'll stay out of that argument, but Sichuan is definitely old school. And Yaan is an area in Sichuan where they have been producing this type of Hei-cha for ages. And it always got, well, the majority of it got sent up to Tibet and the very high altitude areas because this was the tea, the borderland tea, the frontier tea that was brought up and exported up along those tea horse roads up to Tibet for people in those high elevations to be able to sustain themselves and drink tea, and probably was one of the teas, or is one of the teas, that is used most for butter tea. But that's the subject of another video. So you may have heard of Yaan Zang cha before, but usually it comes in a brick form, in a juan, fu juan, not fu juan, but a juan form. So you get Yaan Zang juan, which are these bricks, and the bricks usually are made up of leaves which look quite rough. If you've ever seen Hunan fu bricks, they're quite rough, big leaves. It's kind of a bit rustic, let's call it. And they're very nice teas. They're sort of relatively inexpensive. You can break off a big chunk. You brew it strong. As I said, you can churn it with butter and you get this very rich, hearty tea to sustain you during those colder months up in the mountains. And so Yaan Zang cha has been on my radar for a while. I've been tasting this tea for a while, but I've never felt like I wanted to buy it because it's great tea, but it's sort of a rough brick tea. Then this one turned up, and you can see that this is a whole other level of quality. The pickings on this and the processing on this is just like, you hear terms like imperial grade, you know? This looks like, this has got imperial grade written all over it. Glossy, small, fine leaves. And I mean, the way that it looks, just the glossiness of it. This, oh, don't spill any of this stuff, Don. This stuff is precious. I have never seen Yaan Zang cha of this quality in terms of looks before, ever. And so when this turned up on my tea tasting table, as you know, probably, I taste blind, so I knew it was a Hei-cha, but didn't know what it was. I tasted it. We'll talk about the taste when I get into it, but obviously was very intrigued by it, and then found out it was a Yaan Zang cha. I was very, very surprised. So let's quickly scope this tea. This is from April 2019. Cultivar is the Laochuan Chuntijong, just old school heirloom variety. This is from Yaan, Sichuan. It's from Lucheng, I think. I don't know the actual area, but I think it's from Lucheng. I'll have to double check. Lucheng, Yaan, Sichuan, China. Picking on this, very young leaves, bud and young leaves, and elevation, I believe, is about 1,200 meters. Check the website. It escapes me. Anyway, point is, well, actually, no, 900 meters. The little voice told me 900 meters in the back of my head. Right. So, point is that this is an old school frontier tea, usually, historically, exported up into Tibet and the sort of borderland regions, frontier tea, minority tea, and usually in a rough brick form. This is a completely different grade, and we're going to get into it. And I'm so excited because, you know, when I tasted this during sampling, it was one of those teas that there are like a handful that just stay with me in my head, like, oh my God, I can't wait for that one to come in, can't wait for that one to come in. And this one is just one of those teas. Of course, I love all the teas I select, but you know, there's those ones that just capture you because they're unique and they're different and there's something you've not tasted before. And this is one of them. Now, it may look like I don't have that much here, But because of the fact that these are so tightly rolled and so expensive, no, also it's so tightly rolled and so sort of glossy and flat, they're quite dense. I didn't actually measure the weight, but I'm assuming that this is going to be around the right amount of weight. It's just heavy. It's like teas that are ball rolled. They just occupy less volume, but they will expand. Maybe I'll think maybe I should have added some more, but let's see. And yes, it is an expensive tea as well. Here we go. Smell, well, of these amazing looking leaves. Okay, so I am hit with the most transportive fragrance. It just takes me to another place. But let's focus on the more food and drink side of things first. Black licorice. Cascara. So the fruity part of the coffee cherry, banned in some countries, I believe. But anyway, cherried coffee note. Also some dark chocolate in here as well. And then the non-food notes, lots of leather. There's a bit of a floral note as well, violet, Parma violets. So almost like a refined, if you've ever had a violet liqueur used to make cocktails, like a very particular, quite refined smell. Everything is deep set, everything is developed. 2019 tea, but so it has some age on it, but it's more about that fermentation process. It's just brought out all of these crazy transportive notes in here. So leathers, dark chocolates, cascara, Parma violets. All right, let's give this a rinse. I'm going to put a very narrow aperture on my wine because I don't want to lose any of these precious leaves. Already, color of the liquor. Yep, blow a bubble, piggy blowing bubbles. Okay. Super excited. Here we go. Don't have a name for this tea yet. Yeasted buns, old school English buns. What is that? They're sort of denser. English buns just have they celebrate this sort of density and heartiness of it, being in a colder climate. So it's these sort of, yeasted, heavy buns, sweet buns. Sorry, I'm nursing a little bit of a cold here. Licorice is there. Port, aged port. Not so much of the tang, just more of the sweetness. Aged port. The leathers are still there. I'm picking up that cascara, moving slightly into coffee, but not quite. Sugar notes, molasses, treacle, a little bit of candied corn, candied popcorn, toffee candied popcorn, quite dark though. And then the transportive. So a little bit of a lot actually of old library. I'm picking up those woods. I'm picking up those old leathers. I'm picking up the paper, the sort of almost dusty reams of paper. Farmyard. Not quite elephant and house, but farmyard. Picking up slight sort of manure notes. Definitely out in nature. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But I love those notes. Just as that little intrigue makes your brain wake up. Oh, what's going on here? Yeah, definite. I feel like I'm sitting out on a farm. Clean farm, not too pooey. But like just the smell of nature and the smell of slight sort of manure just in the distance, far, far away. But just enough to sort of keep you awake. And then I'm having like a sugared bun, English bun, with like cascara and chocolate drink. And I'm sitting reading an old antique book, leather bound. Oh man. Oh, it's so transportive. Oh, this smell. Oh my gosh, I want to be there now. That is just an amazing smell. It just smells of nature in combination with like, yeah, just nature, but like refined. Again, it's like leather, you know, the cow hides. It's just all refined in. It's just all sort of, in that varnished wood is there. Not so much attic, not so much crypt. So it's different from so many other Zang chas, Yaan Zang chas that I've had, and so many other right pu'ers that I had, where you're picking up more of the cavernous, more of the crypt. This is very in your face, very sort of nature. It's really hard to describe. It's also got this sort of fermented winey quality, which I was talking about before, but we'll hopefully pick those up in future sniffs of those wet leaves. So we talked about the port before, and I think it's all there's a fermented winey note to it, but we will get into it as it opens up. I'm brewing it about 95 because I just want to like test it out with these small leaves a little bit. Right. Oh. Ooh. Oh, chocolate mud cake. Wellington boots. It's got a bit of a rubbery vinyl note as well. It is so mad, this tea. It's mad. Something else. It's like cocoa hazelnut or something. Cocoa. Ah, I can't get it. It's hard when you're just shooting from the hip. Color. Just starting to brew into this, but it's already a lovely, lush chestnut red, reddy brown. Cheers, everybody. Texture. Oh, medium thick. Interesting. Very, initially quite oily, and then bright minerality. Incredible minerality. Like fizzy, licking like rock minerality. Not dry. Oily and mineral. How does it achieve that? I have no idea. Bright, bracing, almost marine-like in its sort of bracing quality without any of the sort of marine air, but just that feel of minerality. Hydrating as well. The sweetness after one sip in my mouth is incredible, but we'll talk about that later. Oh, wow. It is just so sweet. I'm going to talk about it now. It's like I've taken a spoonful of strawberry jam, and I like a deep strawberry jam, like really cooked down strawberry jam, like dark crimson strawberry jam. It's just strawberry, like I feel like I've just licked strawberry jam. Oh, it's amazing. Wow. All right, let's focus on the taste. Oh, the taste is just crazy. So that ferment is there. I'm getting chocolate. I'm getting cherries. Chocolate cherry combo. You know, there's chocolate cherry liqueurs, kirsch, like chocolate with cherry and alcohol. Has that kind of quality to it. Wine gums, especially the more dark purpley ones. I guess they're cherry or raspberry wine gums. So it's got that winey, sweet, fermented note to it. Oh, licorice and brown sugar. Yeah, dark muscovado brown sugar. I have never tasted a Zang cha, a Yaan Zang cha like this. All of the food bricks, or why do I keep saying that? All of the Juen, the bricks that I have tried, have all been lovely, but the size of the leaves have just made them taste rougher, more herbal. This just tastes so refined, again, like imperial grade. I have never seen, like I said, a tea look like this before, a Zang cha look like this before. And the price point reflects that. This is like somebody who wanted to take this style of tea and just take it to that absolute pinnacle level and go, right, we're going to take the best pickings. We're going to ferment them super, super well. And we're just going to make like the tribute tea for this. If there was like a Tibetan emperor, like this would be the one that you'd bring to up into the mountains for the Tibetan emperor. Oh, it's so clean, so sweet, so oily, so mineral, so bright, those wet rocks. I feel like I'm licking rocks. But then it's got like a sauna note to it, like pine sauna. Also like freshly sawn pine wood, but you've sawn it like quite vigorously. So it's got a bit of a char. It's like heated up the wood. It's like a slight scorch on it, but just enough to kind of give you that intrigue. And nothing more, nothing to take away from the bright fruity notes. And the fruity notes are the cascara, the cherries, the strawberries. It's berry forward. Black cherries, dried black cherries. The body sensation is rushy. I can feel it already. This is the kind of tea that you would imagine being up in the mountains. You're going to go out the whole day. You're going to be working the whole day physically. This will put lead in your pencil. This is going to like supercharge you during the day. And I can imagine this would be probably the most luxurious butter tea in the world. I might have to do that. I might save that for another video, because I can tell you this is going to be something else in terms of a butter tea, because it's so rich. It's so rich. It's so vaporous as well. It's got almost like a yen cha style vaporous quality to it. I mean, this is just off the charts, and different from any other HR. The closest that I can recall this being is like Playground Rendezvous. If you've ever had Playground Rendezvous was is, I think it's still available, a really interesting combination where we took a ripe tea, a ripe pu'er tea, but we fermented it in kombucha, in black tea kombucha in barrels. Very small batch, very tightly controlled parameters. And that licorice molasses quality to it is there. That is still there. But other than that, I can't really recall any other HR that tastes like this. It's almost got like a black tea quality to it. You know, when I say black tea, I mean Hongcha, like the traditional Western idea of a black tea. You know how black tea can sometimes have that sort of fermented, winey quality to it. This has that. Smell of the empty Gong Da Bei. I smell like very, very dried prunes and like an extremely aged balsamic vinegar. So aged that there's almost no acidity to it. It's just sweet and condensed and fudgy. It's like so thick, right? But just with that little tiny twang of fruit there. Balsamic, aged balsamic, like, you know, very old balsamic, and prunes. I'm going to stop after this infusion because I already feel the rush on this tea. This tea is major rush. Definitely do not drink this tea if you're planning to sleep anytime soon. Thankfully, I am not. Ooh, more of the chocolates are coming through. Again, there's this, I'm going to try and nail it, hold on. No, struggling. What I'm seeing in my head is chocolates and hazelnuts, but the chocolate is cooked chocolate. Like the chocolate has okay, so yes. So it's like the, if you've ever had a babka, a chocolate babka, you know, the chocolatey bits on the edges of the babka, which have just started to sort of like bubble a bit and like just start to cook a bit. It's kind of got a cooked chocolate quality to it. I know that most chocolate goes through a heating phase, but you know, that extra heating phase, or like just the edges of a pain au chocolat, the bit of chocolate which is sticking out. So it's not burnt, but it's like got a slight sort of charred quality to the taste. Yeah, that's the closest I'll get to that. And the sweetness in my mouth and the feeling in my mouth, intensely tingly, super mineral, so tingly. And then chocolate moves to those yeasted buns again, sugared buns, icing sugar. And then I'm left with this deep cherry or strawberry jam, lingering, persistent, never-ending, tingly sweetness. It is intensity to a 10 in terms of flavor, in terms of mouthfeel, finish, aftertaste. It is I mean, I don't know what the flavor wheel is going to be. Check out on the website, but it's going to be pretty full. Let's put it that way. Take a look at these leaves. You may be surprised at how I'm stopping, but I can feel this is very strong. And again, I can imagine if I was up in the mountains and I had a lot of work to do, having just one big like bottle of this, you know, in my bag would see me through the day. Wow. It is alert. It is rushy. It feels very opening in terms of its airways. I can imagine this helping at high altitude to breathe. I can feel the medicinal power of this tea, which is why I'm treating it with respect, and I'm going to stop and I'm going to save this for the rest of the day while I edit this video probably. An amazing version of a Yaan frontier borderland tea. Truly imperial grade. Look at those leaves. I mean, that's like almost ginger May sort of level picking, which I've never seen for a Yaan tea before. If you pick it up and you like it, let me know. I can probably get some more of this tea. I only bought a small amount because it is very expensive, and you know, we can't like throw all our capital at these kinds of teas. But if you really like it, let me know. Please write to me, because I want to buy loads, but I recognize that it's at a very high price point. The smell and the aromas coming off, I feel like I am being transported from a sauna to a farmyard to an old library, all the time eating the most sugared confectionery buns and just the most amazing, amazing mineral mouthfeel. Nothing else to say. Mega, mega, major tea release. That's it, tea heads. Check out other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I am a very rushy Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the imperial stuff and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea.